Okay, welcome back. So now we're going to cut some doors. So if we go back to Photoshop and we can look, and here there's these sort of entrance ways on either side. So I've just added a fifth point. So what we want to do is draw a little box in here basically, and that we could subtract from the wall to cut the opening. What we need to know is the distance between, we figure out that point reasonably easily. So we can just have this point and then we figure out the distance to there. So that's the Y width inside. So we can figure that out. So if we come back to Rhino, let's put this up here. So it's this point here. So point 2, we want to move up or copy, which is kind of a bit weird in Rhino, Grasshopper. So where's point 2 is here. So if we move something in Grasshopper, it copies that over. So if we take point 2 and move it, now we need to move it that inside width, and that's the Y width, and that's our inside plane that we had before. So if we just take the reverse Y, which is that one, we can take that into the motion, but we've got that coming up with red, and it's because we need to give it a vector to go, so we need to tell it to go in the Y direction. So if we type in Y, and then now we take the result, and that result, if we just go back and remind ourselves, so that's both wall thicknesses, so that's where we multiplied it, and then the outside diameter, so it's subtracting the wall thicknesses from the outside dimension. So if we put that into the Y direction and then feed that into there, and then you can see we've now, let's zoom in, we've now got that point there, which we can draw a little surface from and extrude up. So we want primitive and then plane surface. So we've got our starting point, and then we need the X and Y. So let's just come back over here. We need to figure out how wide our doors are. So come into here, use the ruler, and let's just figure out how wide that is. And that is, so let's say 750, just round it up. Back to Rhino. So let's put one way over here. So door, we want 750. And then let's just line that up and change that to door width. So we can bring that over to here. So we want that in the X direction. So if we come down here, so that's X is here. So we're going across X, and we can see the little line there. And then we need to go in the Y direction. And if we do that, the width of the wall, so wall thickness, so bring that over and then feed that into there, and we just highlight that, and we've got a little door there. So then we want to extrude that, so extrude, zoom in, so the base is there, and then we need the wall height. Where have we extruded before? there, so Z, so we can actually pull it from this one. Let's just pull it out a bit so it's a bit easier to see. So pull, and this one here, let's just backtrack a little bit so we know what we're pulling. So we've got the wall height is the outside wall height, and we have to take the foundation off that. So if we just reverse back, we can see that we've got the wall height and then minus the floor thickness. So we can, and then it's got the Z direction in there. So we can actually just take that one and come back and put it in the direction, and it puts it already there for us. So what we can do is, let's just pull these bits out, maybe move that up there, so we can subtract that out of there. So if we, wonder if we can do that. Let's just try this. Sometimes things work when we try them and sometimes don't. If you want to add another line in, we can hold down shift and it adds it in. And I think that may have worked. So if we hide that, so turn the preview off, let's just go to 3D. Yes, that did. So you can see now we've got that door cut in there. So what we can do is, let's put this in. So if we go to draw one, and then if we just group all this and group it, we've got draw one there. So that's the result coming out. Now we need to do the same for box 2. So let's go back to Photoshop. So we can actually do the same principle, but we have to, if we look in here, let's turn those off. Oh. Just turn those off, or there, turn those off, and then we want to draw a box in here, but it has to be negative to the negative x and negative y. So we can pull a lot of similar information that we did for this one, but we just need to make it negative, which makes life a lot easier. So let's go back to there and back to Rhino. So we've got, where's 0.4? So there's 0.4, and that's in the right place. So we don't need to move that geometry like we did there. So we just need to draw a plane, really. So why don't we bring that down there, copy. So I'm holding down Option on a Mac or Alt, I think, on a PC. So let's start by doing 0.4 and using that as the start of the plane. And then we just need to, we're pulling the same information as that plane, but remember we needed to make it negative. So if we look up in this view, we'll double click on there, you can see it's in the wrong place. So we need to make it negative x in that direction. So negative x in that way and negative y in that way. Okay, so if we come back here, so we add negative in, and let's copy that because we need two of them. Alright, so we can follow this x. Where's that coming from? Whoa. So door thickness, so that goes down to negative and then into x, and then we have the wall thickness, which we need in a negative, so we can pull the wall thickness, bring that back down to negative, and add that into here, into Y, and now we have that box. And then we need to extrude it, so let's do an extrusion, extrude, and the base being that, and then we need the direction, so we can come back up to tool 1 and follow back to this Z direction here, which comes from the overall wall height minus the floor depth, so we can come and bring that down to here. So now we should have, that's right, so we've got that door modelled, so we can see it there. Ooh, there. So now we need to subtract that as well, and if we remember from last time, we just added it to this one, so we can take that out, hold down shift and add it to the B, and then we just need to turn the preview off on that. We can also turn the preview off on the plane as well, because we don't really need that. We can do the same here, and then let's just bring those two negative values up and then create a new label, so door 2, and then we can group that. So what's great about what we've done now, let's just come back, let's jump into here so we can see what's going on. Zoom out there. We can come into all of these things, those parameters, sliders that we've created, and we can adjust them, so we can see here that the shape of each space is changing, and the height, wall height. So quite easily we can change and adjust things depending on what we and how we want it and feel it fits. So we might decide that the wall thickness is better being thicker or thinner, so it just becomes a useful tool. Rather than having to remodel everything, we can just come in here there and type in what we want and lock it in. Let's just save everything again, so I'll just go Command S or Control S, and same there, so we've got everything saved. So what do we need to do in the next? Let's have a look before we move on to the next one. So we've got the two doors, it's these returns now, so we need to put these little returns on, and then the little windows in there, and a door in the middle as well. So let's just focus on the returns for now, but we'll do that in the next video.